I am so pleased to introduce to you today the author of The Way of Zen, Mr. Alan Watts, here for his first public appearance. Mr. Watts. Mr. Watts, we're all waiting to hear what you have to say. Mr. Watts.
Oh, yes, of course. Good afternoon. I'm Alan Watts, and today I want to talk to you about life, or perhaps the idea of the meaning of it. If you awaken from this illusion, you can understand that black implies white, self implies other, life implies death, or shall I say, death implies life. You can feel yourself, not as a stranger in the world, not as something here on probation, not as something that has arrived here by fluke, but you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental.
You are just some old chump. You're not hip to my generation, so why should we be listening to you?
That is the very matter on which I'm speaking. I mean to illustrate that...
That what? You can't even prove these theories. None of us are the same, so why are you acting like we are? Like you can apply these lessons to our generation?
That is a good question. And I'm thrilled that you are questioning my teaching and methods, because this is how we explore and discover the answers, how I found these philosophies poignant. I'm not trying to sell you on this idea in the sense of converting you to it. I want you to play with it. I want you to think of its possibilities. I'm not trying to prove it. I'm just putting it forward as a possibility of life to think about.
You always were one to stray from the path, Alan.
If I remember correctly, Father, the path I strayed from was just one you presented.
Wrong, Alan. It was a path that our Savior provided to you when you joined our congregation, though that was some time ago. This circus that you've been running has led you straight to hell.
How is it that you're so sure of that? Didn't Jesus question the contemporary beliefs in his time? As humans, we've been asking these questions since the dawn of intelligence.
Because man is full of curiosity and sin, as you are even today. As long as you're asking questions, you're wrong.
At least until we find an answer that seems right. I have to believe there is more than one answer. So then, let's suppose that you were able, every night, to dream any dream that you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power, in one night, to dream 75 years of time, or any length of time you'd like to have. Now you would, naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all of your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure that you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Let's have something happen to me that I don't know what it is. And you would dig that. And where you'd come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous and make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And what if this waking up is what destroys the entire fabric of what makes us happy? What then, Mr. Watts? This is what fear is, my dear friend. The same thing that grasped me for a moment before I stepped on the stage. But this is what makes life so worth it. So worth in this sense means perhaps failing, the possibility of becoming wrong in the eyes of those who sit down to listen to your ramblings. What if you're entirely wrong and you end up nowhere? Following the crowd has worked for others, and yet you would question this constant for the slim chance of becoming at one in this crazy world. Yes, because if we do not speak our minds, ideas can never be expressed. Philosophies never explored, life never lived. Whether we are right or wrong, we must debate. This is a nightmare. Perhaps. But this is the now. Somewhere I like to be. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you're actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices that you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that He's not. So in this idea, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality. Not God in a politically kingly sense, but in the sense of the self, of the great deep down whatever there is. And you're all that. Only you're pretending you're not. Fuck you, Michael. You're full of shit.